Hey guys, Tyler here. The Bolians are a blue-skinned humanoid species in the Star Trek universe. A common background alien race, there are few named Bolian characters in canon, and none have ever been what most would consider main characters. But like many other Star Trek species, Bolians can be said to form part of the backbone of Starfleet. Several Bolians serve in Starfleet, some even as admirals, and there are plenty of Bolian ambassadors and council members in the Federation. But having said all that, there's just a lot that we don't know about the Bolians. In this video, in addition to exploring the Bolians' biology, history, and culture, I'd like to attempt to answer some questions that fans have had about the race for years. With that, let's get started. Before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about today's sponsor, me. Do you like merchandise? If so, head on over to the new and improved OrangeRiver merch store. That's right, OrangeRiver is now officially on Spreadshop. I've got a bunch of awesome new designs, including All the Way Down,
All the Way,
Vape God, Tally, aka Best Girl.
it was totally worth it.
And what is perhaps my greatest design yet,
I love being married to my husband.
plus I've got some of my classic designs like OrangeRiver Arrowhead, N7, Metroid, Mycelial Network,
The mycelial network is like
Mycelial Network, and more. And there are even some new products I introduced earlier this year, like OrangeRiver hats. That's right, OrangeRiver hats now exist. Visit the link in the description to get discounts and other special deals on items from my store. Now, back to the video. The Bolians hail from the M-class planet Bolaris 9, which orbits the star, Belarus. Not Belarus, Belarus. It's unknown in canon what kind of star Belarus is, which would inform various aspects of the Bolians' genetics and evolutionary history. Some sources depict it as a B-type blue giant star, while others depict it as a red dwarf. The latter is more plausible if the Bolians actually evolved on Bolaris 9, since B-type stars have exceptionally short lifespans, a mere 100 million years, whereas red dwarfs can theoretically remain stable for trillions of years. Either way, the Bolians' blue skin indicates they possess pigments that, of course, reflect high-energy blue light, absorbing redder wavelengths in their sun's light spectrum. Wherever the Bolians came from, they are almost certainly descended from the ancient humanoid progenitors' genetic code, which the progenitors seeded in the primordial oceans of countless M-class worlds 4.5 billion years ago, possibly making use of the mycelial network.
the mycelial network is like
Mycelial Network! While we never get to see Bolaris 9's surface in any canon production, the Starfleet Operations Manual describes it as stormy and oceanic, and canonically, it sits close to the Romulan neutral zone. Externally, the Bolians have a distinctive bifurcating cartilaginous ridge that runs vertically along the center of their head and face and partway down the chest, but not all the way.
All the Way.
Morbidly, according to the Voyager novel Pathways, Bolian skin is highly prized by the Cardassians, and Cardassian women in particular enjoy wearing it. Yuck. On rare occasions, some Bolian females do grow natural scalp hair and eyebrows, but predominantly they are completely bald and hairless, as are basically all Bolian males, which somehow qualifies them to work as barbers and hairdressers, like on the Enterprise D. Is this supposed to be some kind of joke by the show's writers? Much like the Orville's Moclans, Bolians are able to consume many foods not normally palatable by other races, including strong acids, thanks to a cartilaginous lining on their tongue. Speaking of their internal anatomy, Bolian hearts are located on the right side of the body, and their blood is blue when oxygenated. This suggests that their blood might use the copper-based protein hemocyanin instead of the iron-based hemoglobin to transport oxygen. Indeed, it's stated in Voyager that Bolian blood chemistry is so different that if one were given a blood transfusion from a Vulcan, the Bolian would die. Of course, Vulcan's green blood is said to be copper-based, But that's a whole story in and of itself, which I explore further in my video about Vulcan biology, link in the description. Intimate relations between Bolians and humans also typically cause adverse effects to the latter, including fatigue, nausea, and joint inflammation. They're basically like the Drell.
Entropy wins. Entropy always wins.
Between all these details, it's been speculated that Bolian internal chemistry might be corrosive. This certainly wouldn't be a first for an alien species, as the greenish-yellow blood of the Alien franchise's xenomorphs is also corrosive. I won't go into detail about every single aspect of Bolian society, history, and culture stated on screen, but there are a few highlights. It's not known exactly when they achieved warp drive, but according to Enterprise, they've encountered the Ferengi by 2151. The non-canon Department of Temporal Investigations ebook, The Collectors, further establishes that the Bolians broke the warp barrier in the early 22nd century, a couple generations after humans did. Other reference sources further flesh out Bolian pre-warp history, indicating that the species had a rough equivalent of the Age of Sail and various territorial wars instrumental in forming early Bolian nation-states. They also had a Cold War analog that saw significant cultural and technological breakthroughs. Eventually, the Bolian nation-states entered an era of peace in which the species colonized their star system. They eventually made contact with a pair of warring alien races from a neighboring star system. These species forced Bolaris 9's two largest nation-states to pick different sides in the war, with the third nation-state isolating itself. The war threatened to come to Bolaris 9 itself. It sounds like some Transformers shit, but was thankfully avoided due to first contact with the Federation in the mid-23rd century. Since joining the Federation, they have apparently contributed advancements in fields like anti-gravity tech and developed a new process for recrystallizing dilithium. Bolian medical philosophy dating back to their Middle Ages outlines justifications for physician-assisted suicide, which is referenced in the episode Death Wish, when the crew discusses the Q Quinn's desire to end his life. Bolian marriages are sometimes polyamorous. Members of the species are often highly outspoken and are accustomed to working in service professions. Their economy is very different from that of 24th century Earth, chief among which being the fact that they still use money. The Bank of Bolius is one of the most prominent financial institutions on Bolaris 9, and fluctuations in the value of Bolian currency play an important role in Alpha Quadrant trade. Indeed, Bolians are described at various points in TNG in a way that suggests they may not actually be members of the Federation at all, merely allies. They're said in the episode Allegiance to, as of 2366, have an uneasy truce with a race called the Meropa. Why they would be conducting their own foreign policy affairs if they were Federation members is questionable to say the least. But in the episode Cupid, which takes place in 2367, a Bolian is on the Federation Archaeology Council. Yeah, just like with the Trill, the Bolians' Federation membership seems to be ambiguous. It's less ambiguous, though, by the time we get to Deep Space Nine, as Bolian territory is a hotbed between the Federation and Dominion during the Dominion War. And in the Star Trek novel continuity, a Bolian named Min Zeif is president of the Federation after the Dominion War. So, members or not, Bolaris 9 is still an important Federation-aligned planet. This is largely the extent of what we know about the Bolians, both in canon and non-canon. A couple other things I thought I'd mention. The Bolians have an offshoot race called the Tulians, who are known to the Federation by the mid-23rd century, with at least one serving in Starfleet aboard the USS Shinzo. The Tulians have apparently embraced cybernetics to an extent that their parent race hasn't. Furthermore, in various TNG novels, it's said that the Bolians themselves are actually an offshoot of the extinct Balaster civilization from the planet Myrmidon, which is considered the spiritual homeland of the Bolian species. So, after all, it does seem that at least some Star Trek sources indicate that Belarus 9 is not the Bolians' native homeworld, much like how the Caitians are said to be an offshoot of an ancient Kzinti colony. Was Belarus 9's habitable environment, perhaps even their parent star, artificially engineered? If the Bolians have a pre-warp history, what happened to all of their technology if they are descended from Balaster colonists? Let me know what you think down in the comments. It seems I may have asked more questions than I answered in this video, but isn't that the fun of the scientific process? I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about these Star Trek aliens who, let's just say, always seem to be there. With that, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below and don't forget to share it. That stuff really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that as well so you won't miss future uploads, and click the bell icon to receive all notifications. If you want to support my work even further, you can become a patron at patreon.com/OrangeRiver, link in the description. Or become a YouTube member by clicking the join button on my channel page. I just want to give a quick shout out to all of my donors who allow me to bring on talent like editors to help make more high quality content for you to enjoy. By becoming a patron or member, you also get access to awesome perks like behind the scenes photos and videos, patron and member only polls, name in the credits, merch discounts, and more. Or you can drop a one-time super thanks or PayPal donation. All are appreciated. Links to my PayPal as well as my social media and merch store are in the description too. That's all I have for this week. Live long and prosper.